Think meeting your partner's parents is awkward? Try losing your virginity in front of them. Welcome to the medieval bedding ceremony, where privacy wasn't just discouraged, was legally forbidden for noble marriages. The logic: marriage contracts weren't valid until consummated. And since these contracts often involved huge transfers of land, money, and political alliances, someone had to witness the deal go down. Literally, here's how it worked. After the wedding, the bride and groom were escorted to the bedchamber in a full procession. The bride was undressed by her female relatives, the groom by his male relatives, like some gender-segregated strip show nobody wanted to see. Then came the main event. The couple climbed into bed while witnesses, nobles, priests, and family members stood around watching. Not just a peek to confirm things were happening. They stayed the whole time, sometimes even offering helpful advice. And if that wasn't humiliating enough, afterward the sheets could be inspected for blood as proof of the bride's virginity. Imagine presenting your honeymoon bed like courtroom evidence. This wasn't just for kings and queens. Any marriage involving land or inheritance could require witnessed consummation. Some couples tried to cheat by keeping witnesses outside the door, but courts annulled marriages for that too. Meaning, yep, they had to redo it. The practice was so normalized that etiquette manuals gave rules for proper behavior: where to stand, what to say, how long to watch. Medieval Europe turned voyeurism into a formal institution. Aristocrats didn't just have sex, they scheduled it like a board meeting, complete with astrologers and priests. The obsession with conception timing mixed astrology, medicine, and religion into the most overcomplicated baby-making strategy in history. Couples consulted star charts to find the right planetary alignments, as if Mars personally cared about their family planning. Medical texts advised conceiving during the waxing moon, ideally at midnight, in warm, humid weather, with the bed facing east toward the sunrise. Honestly, it sounds more like preparing a ritual sacrifice than romance. Gender selection, even crazier. To conceive a boy, men were told to tie off the left testicle because boys came from the right and girls from the left. Medieval anatomy was basically fan fiction, and then the church got involved. No sex on Sundays, Wednesdays, Fridays, during Lent, during Advent, during menstruation, during pregnancy, while breastfeeding, altogether, around 183 forbidden days a year. Finding a guilt-free night became a scheduling nightmare. Wealthy families even hired fertility consultants, a mix of doctor, astrologer, and priest, to craft personalized baby-making calendars. Basically medieval fertility apps, but with more superstition and way less accuracy. In the Middle Ages, even underwear got magical upgrades. The girdle of Venus wasn't just a poetic name, it was an actual belt made of silk or linen, covered in prayers, zodiac symbols, or magical inscriptions. People believed it could boost fertility, protect childbirth, and improve performance in bed. But belts were only the beginning. Women wore amulets filled with powdered unicorn horn, actually narwhal tusk, gemstones, or handwritten prayers, because, apparently, God needed a reminder note in your underwear. The weirdest accessory, the conception stone, a small crystal women would place in their underwear during sex, believing emeralds meant boys, sapphires meant girls, and diamonds meant twins. Yes, medieval people thought jewelry could control genetics. Men had their own sexy accessories, enchanted rings, animal part amulets, often testicles again, and even blessed loincloths for better stamina. And of course, the church got in on the action. Priests blessed fertility belts, charms, even bed sheets, charging fees like a medieval subscription service for your sex life. Some accessories came with instruction manuals, prayers to recite, steps to follow, troubleshooting if the belt stopped working. It was customer service for magical lingerie. The rich flaunted luxurious silk girdles threaded with gold and jewels, while poorer couples made DIY versions with local scraps. Sex accessories literally became a class status symbol. Some women refused to have sex without them, and some men refused partners who weren't properly equipped. Medieval foreplay started in the wardrobe. Think divorce court is humiliating today. Try proving your sex life in front of a jury. Because divorce was nearly impossible, one of the few ways out was claiming your husband was impotent. But you couldn't just say it, you had to prove it. First came the medical exam, experts inspecting both partners' genitals for defects. Then came courtroom interrogation about frequency, technique, and what exactly did or didn't happen in bed. If that wasn't conclusive, the couple faced the nightmare of trial by Congress. Yes, that's what it was called. They were ordered to attempt sex under supervision, in special chambers, while officials watched through peepholes or stood behind screens. If the man couldn't perform, annulment granted. If he tried to cheat with medieval Viagra herbal potions, animal parts, or smuggled aphrodisiacs, he could be caught in extra humiliating inspections. These trials sometimes dragged on for months or years, with repeated supervised attempts. Imagine having to prove your skills dozens of times in front of judges, and women weren't off the hook. They had to prove they were sexually willing and responsive, enduring invasive exams and embarrassing questioning. Courts often blamed women if a man couldn't perform. Even if you won, the gossip was brutal. Many men preferred annulment without trial, essentially admitting impotence just to avoid the public circus. Here's a mind-blower. The medieval church wasn't just tolerating prostitution, it was profiting from it. In 12th century London, Southwark had 18 licensed brothels, employing over 1,000 prostitutes. And who owned them? The Bishop of Winchester. Church leaders argued prostitution was a necessary evil to prevent worse sins like adultery or homosexuality. Their solution: regulate it, profit from it, and call it moral. The system worked like this. Sex workers paid rent to brothel keepers, who paid rent to landlords, who paid taxes to the church. A holy pyramid scheme, with bishops on top. Rules were strict. Prostitutes wore specific clothes, worked set hours, and lived in designated zones. They couldn't refuse customers without cause, and had to undergo regular medical checks. The most insane part: profits from prostitution funded churches, monasteries, and religious festivals. Medieval salvation was literally bankrolled by sin. When reformers later tried to shut down church-owned brothels, resistance was fierce. Too many people made too much money. The hypocrisy lasted for centuries, until Protestant reform finally forced the church to step away. Medieval birth control wasn't just ineffective, it was dangerous and bizarre. The go-to solution: animal testicles again. Women wore weasel testicles as necklaces, believing it stopped pregnancy. Others swallowed ground beaver testicles, mixed with wine, or even mercury potions. Spoiler: it killed more women than pregnancies prevented. Some methods were absurdly simple, like sneezing right after sex to expel the seed. Women even carried pepper to trigger it. Others shoved barriers inside, honey-soaked wool, crocodile dung, even half a lemon as a primitive cervical cap. Weirdly enough, the lemon might have worked. Citric acid kills sperm, but it wasn't exactly comfortable. Timing methods were backwards too. Doctors thought women were most fertile during menstruation and least fertile mid-cycle, the exact opposite of reality. Couples trying to avoid pregnancy ended up guaranteeing it. Magic played its part as well. Amulets, stones, rituals like walking backward around a church while chanting prayers, because apparently God needed performance art to approve contraception. The only method that actually worked, withdrawal, was condemned as dangerous, supposedly causing madness, blindness, or even death in men. So the one effective technique got thrown out. So here's the big takeaway. Medieval people weren't prudish. They were obsessed with sex, just in the strangest, most contradictory ways possible. They bundled teenagers into bed with planks of wood, wrote medical cookbooks about aphrodisiacs, forced newlyweds to perform in front of audiences, scheduled baby-making by moon cycles, turned underwear into holy relics, ran prostitution empires, and came up with contraception methods that were more deadly than pregnancy. The Middle Ages weren't dark because nobody was having sex. They were dark because of what people were doing while having sex.